coming up from the Northeast Live studios in Guwahati. Northeast Tonight with 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛.
Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. It is after a long time, viewers, we have decided to discuss the prevailing situation in Manipur, and the urgency of the discussion is that a state is in turmoil for almost 1 year now. I'm sure my panelists and our viewers will agree that there is no point trying to find out what triggered the violence on the 3rd of May last year or how it happened. There is no point in going back on that. I am sure that our viewers are much better informed than I am, and I'm not estimating their capacity to analyze things. Now, why are we holding this discussion on Manipur today, and that too after such a long time? I think there is need to discuss Manipur because, as I said, it is almost a year that the turmoil is continuing. What is of concern is the future of the youth. Whether it is the youth in the valley or the youth in the hills. Politics has its own place, whether it is electoral politics or societal politics. What we all should be particularly concerned is the future of the next generation Manipuris. By Manipuris, I mean people in the hills as well as the people in the valley. It is high time this violence ends because it concerns the future of the young generation. I expect this discussion to be a civilized debate. The basic idea is to see whether both sides can sit down and talk peace. Basically, what we are going to discuss in the next hour is the road ahead. I welcome all the panelists. We have with us Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛 from the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. With me in the studios in Guwahati is Mr. 𝗟𝗚𝗙𝗚𝗡𝗙𝗦𝗙𝗡, BJP leader and Manipur MLA representing the 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 constituency. Mr. Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗡𝗏𝗧𝗏, professor at 𝗚𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗡𝗙, joins me from Imphal, and I also have with me Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗙𝗚𝗡𝗏𝗡𝗙, assistant professor at the Center for Study of Law and Governance, JNU, joining me from New Delhi. Before I go to the discussion, ladies and gentlemen, let's go straight to a big breaking story that we have broken only less than an hour ago. There is heavy firing in Imphal East. The visuals speak for itself, viewers. All right, there is heavy firing going on at the 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗧𝗏 area in Imphal East. Viewers, we have been told by security sources that a group of heavily armed men and security guards posted at the residence of the additional LC of Imphal East. The firing is going on between a group of heavily armed gunmen and the security guards posted at the residence of the additional SP Imphal East, located in the 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗧𝗏 area in Imphal East. Now, the army has been called in, and the troops of the Assam Rifles have already arrived the area to take control of the situation. What triggered the firing is not known. We are also getting unconfirmed reports that 2 civilians have been injured in the crossfire. We are waiting for more details on this big developing story. That means what this suggests, as the pictures on your screens show, viewers, that the situation in Manipur continues to be volatile. This time, this is not a gunfight between people in the Imphal Valley and those in the hills of Manipur. It is going on in the Imphal Valley itself between armed gunmen and security forces posted apparently at the residence of the additional SP Imphal East. We are waiting for details. These are very, very sketchy information that have come down to us. Let's go back to our panelists and begin this discussion, Manipur, the road ahead. Let me put it on record, viewers. We have four eminent panelists today. Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘 is a BJP leader and MLA from Saikot. We have Dr. 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘, professor at the JNU. We have Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗙𝗏, a very respected professor at the IZNTU in Imphal. And we have another very well-known commentator, Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘, assistant professor at the Center for Law and Governance at the JNU. Let me put on record that I had invited representatives of the Manipur government. In fact, a senior Manipur government spokesman was supposed to be on the show, but for whatever reasons have decided against being on this discussion. That is only for the record. But we have representatives who are well equipped to deal with the debate today, Manipur, the road ahead. Let me begin with you, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘. How do you feel, first of all, the budget session is starting tomorrow in Imphal. You are an elected representative. You have 9 other colleagues who belong to the 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛 community, 10 MLAs belonging to the 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛 community who have not been able to participate in the discussions and raise the voice of the people on the floor of the House, because that is your primary job, is to represent the issues of the people in the August House, that is the State Assembly. First of all, how do you feel? Before I go into the topic.
The feeling is one of devastation and one of anger that we could not represent our people in important matters of state. And it is very unfortunate that the situation has been allowed to continue this far and escalate this high. And there is no forgiving people who are responsible for this.
Right. Now, absolutely. Basically, let me bring the first comments from all our panelists before we go into the topic. Let me go to Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗏, professor at the IZNTU, joining me from Imphal this evening. Professor 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗏, Professor, we are sitting here to discuss the road ahead, but unfortunately, a short while ago, a heavy firing broke out in the heart of Imphal. Now, that is again suggesting that it is 10 months now, going to be 1 year, and the state is in turmoil because of this situation. How do you feel as an academic? How do you look at the future?
Yeah, at the moment, the feeling is of, grimness. I mean, all around us, a kind of blackness has blanketed Manipur. And it is turmoils. It's not only happening today. If you have been following, like 2 or 3 days back, there has been again a sort of conflict within Imphal Valley. So the future, I mean, at the moment, we cannot predict, but we are hoping for the best. We all need to come together to find a solution. This is my comment.
Right. Let me go to Dr. 𝗡𝗙𝗙𝗏𝗏. Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘, you have been watching the situation in Manipur from a distance. You are located in Delhi. You have been commenting and analyzing the situation. Now, my question is, as you've heard Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗏, he said that he feels disturbed. It's a grim situation. And Dr. 𝗡𝗙𝗏 has said that there is need for everybody to come together and work towards peace. Now, my question to you, Dr. 𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗏, the divide has become wide, but nothing is impossible. And now, why can't two sides, that is the 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘 community and the Métis who have been living together for generations, why can't they sit together and work out a solution? What is the obstacle? Okay, I understand, Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘, that you cannot come to, the 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 leaders cannot come to Imphal to talk, or for that matter, the 𝗚𝗡𝗙 leaders perhaps cannot go to Churachandpur to hold the talks. But what prevents them from talking at a neutral location?
Wasbir, thank you for inviting me. And this is the first time that I appear for Northeast Live TV. And congratulations for the 6th year of this continuance of this TV. And we really need a forum like this to address and debate regarding various issues which concern many of us in the Northeast. And tonight, I would like to say by, addressing this pertinent problem. Of course, as you have asked, all leaders can come together and sit and talk. But who will organize this? It's definitely the Prime Minister or the Home Minister who should bring together, whether it's the Chief Minister or whether it's the civil society organizations of Manipur to come together. So unless someone in Delhi initiated this, I think at the state level, it's impossible to organize, because the two communities in these states are armed, in their own respective place, not to, bulge any kind of, a peaceful settlement of certain things, unless it is the way they like it. So it's upon the Union Home Minister or the Prime Minister to look upon these issues. And secondly, coming to, the issues of Manipur, I would say that I would look through the lens of disparity, right? My colleague Bimal would agree or disagree with me, but Manipur, as you look into it, it's very clear. You have two geographical spaces. You have the valley in the center of the state and surrounded by the hills. So there is a huge disparity in terms of development, in terms of so many things. Unless you look into this disparity, I think addressing the future of this Manipur would be impossible. Whether it's legal, whether it's development, whether it's cultural, I think this disparity has to be recognized and addressed at the first. This is my first comment for the evening.
Right. Let me come to once again. Let me ask my producers whether Dr. Bimal Akoizam, is he there? Hello? Okay, I can't hear on my EP, so if that can be fixed. Okay, let me come to Mr. Paulin-Lal 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏. Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, see, you belong to the same party that is ruling the state of Manipur. Only thing is that you represent the hill people, that is your constituency, and that is the large area that you come from. But you are a Manipuri.
I thought I was. But we have been told we are not.
Who said that? Nobody has said that, as far as I know.
A Manipuri should have the right to live in the capital city. We have been driven out. Our people have been driven out and killed.
Now, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, I have got a straightforward question, because Dr. 𝗚𝗡𝗙𝗧𝗏, he said that, he very rightly said, we are all disturbed by what is happening in Manipur, and that is the purpose of this debate. Now the question is, suppose who, as Dr. Thankolal 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 said, who initiates this initiative to bring the two sides together? Is it only the government who can do that, or is it the civil society who can do that? Suppose the Chief Minister of Manipur decides to hold or invites everybody at a neutral location, not in Manipur, because somebody has to take the initiative. Will the 10 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 MLAs be willing to attend such kind of a discussion? This is just a straight question to you.
Wasbir, let me give you an allegorical story. In a school, let's say, somebody bashes up somebody weaker than him, and then he tries to initiate a peace reconciliation process. Would that be good? Or should the principal intervene? That is my short answer. But to elaborate a little, this conflict, I would not call it a conflict. It is an ethnic cleansing drive by a radicalized group. I'm not saying all Meiteis are radicals. It is an ethnic cleansing drive by a radicalized group supported by the Chief Minister and the Rajya Sabha MP. We all know that. Now, I don't know what went into the mind of the center to allow this to prolong for this long.
So you have been allegorical. You said if there is a clash in a school among students, it's the principal who has to intervene. Now, the principal in Manipur, don't you think it is the chief minister who is the principal in Manipur?
I'm referring to the principal in India.
Okay, you are referring to the principal in India. So you are expecting the prime minister to call both the sides together.
More than 200 people have died. More than 70,000 houses have been burned. More than 300 villages destroyed. And if a prime minister doesn't still find time to attend to that, I don't know what could be more important in the state of governance of a state.
Okay, I get your point. Let me go to Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗡. Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗡, we have seen very lot of situations, a lot of issues in the Northeast being resolved. We have seen the government of India is talking to an insurgent group, that is the NSC and IM, which started with a demand for sovereignty and now talking about other issues. But when they started the talks, their demand was that of sovereignty. We have talked with the 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪. 𝗟𝗡𝗪 independent is still outside the purview of the talks, but there has been an accord which has been signed with the 𝗟𝗡𝗪. There has been an accord 1986 signed with the Mizo National Front. There was accord signed with any number of insurgent groups. My question is, these are two communities of one state within the Union of India. Why is it so difficult for the civil society of the two communities to resolve? Do you think people do not want peace?
Everybody loves peace. I, as a teacher who has been teaching in this so-called tribal university, where my majority of my students are from the Kuki community, I miss them. I'm very concerned about their future. When the ethnic cleansing, I mean, this is the terminology I find, a bit, difficult to digest. Should we allow the cleansing to continue or not? Morally impunging. When the Kuki-Naga conflict erupted in the early 90s, there was one community, the Meitei community, intervened, played the role of the peacemaker, and struck to the conscience of both communities to come together and give up violence. We are yet to find someone to mediate this, whatever term you call it, this violence. We have to end. And on the part of the civil society organizations, they need to keep in touch. But the situation is thus, when the society has become so militarized, even the civil society loops are held under the gunpoint.
Right.
On the personal lines, like friends and the friends who have worked together, we have worked together a lot on many issues. And I recall one incident when one of my friends who belong to this community asked me, why are we so foolish? When these fights are going on, both the economies of the communities are greatly affected, and this has been taken over by new players. It's affecting all of us.
Right.
So a moment has to come, whether we like it or not, we have to come together. That's what I strongly believe in.
Right. Professor, I'm coming back to you in a moment. I am now joined by Dr. Angomsa Bimol Akoizam. Professor Bimol Akoizam is one of the leading voices in the country. He is teaching at the Jawaharlal Nehru University. Professor Bimol Akoizam, we have heard, we have got a very eminent panel, Mr. Paulenlal Haokip, Dr. Thankholal Haokip, Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗡, and you, Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗡 was saying that now, can you hear me, Bimol? Okay, Professor Bimol Akoizam cannot hear me. Bimol, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but your video is playing some other channels in Assamese or Bengali, so the two sounds are mixing up here.
Okay, there is audio leakage in the PCR. That is the reason. But I can hear you loud and clear. Bimal, how can the two sides come together? Who will bell the cat? That is the question we are discussing today. Bimal, how should we bring the two sides together to talk? Now, who will take the initiative? Is it the civil society? We have not seen the government act much as far as bringing the two sides together for talks are concerned. Now, are we dependent on the civil society? How do we move forward?
It was where, if I hear you correctly, that you're asking me about how this crisis can be sort of ended or solved.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think the first and foremost, I've been repeating this from the day one, that the government of India must take responsibility for the entire thing to fix it. People have been accusing each other, but the fact of the matter remains, whoever is in touch with the ground reality as well as the pronouncements of the officials, right from the day one, we don't know who is in charge of the law and order situation in the state. I often suspect that the state government has become an scapegoat. So in this matter, I would expect the prime ministers to call all their MLAs in BJP and make them sit down and try to, tell them that loss of life, and these are representatives of the people, they should be squarely held responsible for the state of affairs that has happened in the last 9 or 10 months. I am told that even some of these cookie ministers are clearing files online, and you are playing a game on the lives of the people. So the government must function properly and openly and transparently, and all the members of the assembly, particularly of the ruling, must take responsibility for restoring, but after all, they are the government. And the union government should not, allow to make people confused about who is in charge of the situation. They must ask these MLAs to sit together and talk. The ruling party's MLAs and must meet irrespective of their communities. I think that is the biggest way to move forward. In the meantime, the Indian state must use its legitimate powers to rein in the violence. And that's the way to move forward to begin with. These two steps are very important. On the third part, maybe then the government can also help to open up a second track negotiations with some of the respectable figures from the Northeast. I have suggested in other media channels, Ratan Thiam and Niketu Iralu, and people like Janu Barua can be a mediator for the civil society people to talk. I think that is necessary for us to move ahead. Last but not the least, but some of the grievances, you know that the peace cannot be achieved without addressing the question of justice. And when we talk about justice, I have maintained that all the grievances of the communities in questions, including the Meiteis, you must know that people don't talk about it often, that Meiteis have genuine grievances and injustices being done to them historically. And this crisis must be an opportunity for us to address that too. I think that is the 4 steps that I would imagine how normalcy can be restored in our state.
Right. I will come back to you, Professor 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛. Let me take a view from you, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘. The first point that Professor Bimal, I think these are very, very mature suggestions coming in from all the panelists tonight. Now, Dr. Bimal 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗑 has suggested that, the ruling party, that is the BJP, of which you are also a member and an MLA. Now, the point is, have you asked your central leadership to do something like this, where You have not resigned from the party. You are a party MLA, and the BJP is supposed to be a disciplined political party. Now, why is such a meeting not taking place somewhere outside Manipur? What is the difficulty in all the elected representatives talking and trying to sort of work towards a solution? What is the problem?
Wasbir, the problem is, if it were a clash, a mere clash between communities, and the government were to play a neutral role, it could have been ended, contained within the first 2-3 days. Why it has prolonged this far, 10 months of ethnic cleansing. This is precisely because the state government and the head of the government is biased, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this. He has been creating this whole narrative, even before the troubles began, of maligning the Kuki community, and him being a leader of the Meitei community and the chief minister, a lot of gullible, ignorant masses believed him and his false narratives maligning the particular community, the Kuki community. Now, when you have such a government aiding and abetting the radical forces that he created, this is what we are seeing. The result is what we are seeing. Now, let me come to one of the issues rightly raised by Professor 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏. For peace, we need justice. And these troubles, despite the spark being on the 3rd of May, is the result of long-standing historical injustices, some perceived and some real. And those needs to be addressed. For example, Wasbir, just to find solution to the problem, we have to understand the problem, right? So if you look back,
Okay.
just allow me to finish this.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving the context in which the conflict began. We have this tendency of starting and looking at things from the flashpoint only. But there's a history behind it. The Delimitation Commission, for example, have recommended more representation for the hill areas. That is not allowed. The Hill Areas Committee has not been allowed to function. The MLR and LR Act, which was not supposed to be extended to the hill areas, was being...
I'll have to go for a break. I'll have to go for a break, commercial break. We have got fixed times for that, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏. I'm sorry about that, but I'll come back to you to allow you to finish your point. Let's go for a short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Let me go to Dr. Homen Thangzam. I'll come to you, Dr. Thanggolal 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, and once again to Mr. Paulal 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 and Dr. Bimola Koizam. But first, I want to go to Dr. Homen Thangzam. Dr. Thangzam, is Dr. Thangzam there? Okay. Dr. Thangzam, you know, I mean, 10 months is a very long time. We have seen the state government, or whether it is the state government, whether it is the others, but we have not seen any serious attempt at bringing the two sides together. Unless the two sides sit together, I think this kind of violence is never going to end. It is not benefiting the common man. And we are 3 academics sitting here, all top academics from Manipur, and a very senior political leader. Now the point is, aren't we is it not, incumbent upon us, all of you, to work towards a solution to save the future of the young people in Manipur?
I agree with you totally. Our concern should be the future of the common people and the youth. That's very much needed. Instead of militarizing them, instead of teaching them to take up arms, they could, if given the choice, can pursue a very different path that would be helpful for them.
Now, where have we gone wrong? Where have we gone wrong? Where have we gone wrong? Who is going to demilitarize them? Is it not the responsibility of the state?
It is on us. The community has to decide. We have to abandon the language of violence. The moment we start the conversation in the language of violence, there will be no going back. There has to come a time, a point in which we have to converse together, irrespective of whether you belong to the Kuki or the Naga or the Ahomia or Manipuri or Meitei. Ultimately, we should give up the language of violence. We have to come together. And to do this, I believe, yes, the role and responsibility of the state is very, very important. And equally, we are also important. We have to have the conversation. We have to talk to each other. Like I was mentioning the incident, one particular incident, in which one of my colleagues spoke to me and asked me, why are we being so foolish? We are losing everything. Not only the future of the youth, the economy is devastated. So we need to come together, and to do this, we need the will.
Right.
Beyond the rationale of injustice or justice, we need to develop this will
Now,
to form
right.
a kind of
Will. Well, yes. Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘, I'm coming to you right now, Dr. Bimola Koizam. Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘, do you think the civil society, as we have seen, is also sharply polarized? And when the civil society is polarized, when the state government is not taking any initiative to bring the two sides together, what do we do? Yes, now we are having a Lok Sabha elections, so everybody is already on an election mode. In a small state like Manipur, where there are only 2 Lok Sabha seats, do you think anybody is concerned?
Wasbir, first of all, let me clarify how I see groups. I don't call them civil society groups in Northeast. Most of us, these groups are mainly community-based organizations. So in academic sense, I call them community-based organizations rather than civil society organizations, because they always represent the view of the ethnic groups and rather than the so-called civil society, right? That we conceptualize in academics, academic discussion and others for the last 3 decades. So I see that. And right now, the chief minister or the Manipur government is not in a position to bring the 3 communities together. As I've said earlier, there are different views on this, and it's only the New Delhi, government at New Delhi that can bring these people together, force them, or even use certain constitutional mechanism to coach them into terms. So it's only New Delhi that can do it. And before that, I would like to point out, as I have indicated in my first response, that how to address this disparity, right? There is a disparity in Manipur which needs to be looked, and out of this disparity comes injustice, which my colleague Bimol also said. Without addressing this injustice, there can't be peace in Manipur. So let me quote what the University Grants Commission Chairman and/or former Vice Chancellor of JNU, Mamidala Jagdish Kumar, said yesterday. He said that the Central University entrance test undergraduate can be conducted in a hybrid mode, and this can benefit students, particularly from those from rural areas. Churachandpur has been without internet for the last 13 years. Today is the 14th day. and this has been suspended continuously for 2 days. Because out of those troubles that we all know.
Yeah, right.
Give me another 2 minutes. I will complete this explanation. And because of this, many of the online and other transactions as well as online classes for the students are totally cut off. And you may have seen the viral picture of one village volunteer who was studying in his duty post. So that is the condition of 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 right now. And look into Imphal. In the day before, you would see that there is a bomb in DM College which blasted, and one person was dead. The UCM office was set ablaze. Yet there is no legal actions taken in this Imphal area. So look into the disparity of how these governance mechanisms are rolled out in the hills as well as in Imphal.
Right.
Just because there is a suspension of one head constable, there is such an uproar.
Right.
Why there was such an uproar for suspension? Because let me complete. If you look into the concerns of these people.
Thankulal, just hold your thoughts. Let me go to Dr. Bimal Akoizam. Bimal, Bimal, can you hear me first of all? I think you can hear me now. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah. Now the point is, Dr. Bimal Akoizam, you see, when we are talking such in a reasonable manner, everybody is making their point, but there is a lot of reason, lot of sense. All of you are making a lot of sense. Now, why can't academics take the initiative? Now, civil society, as Thankolal said, you'd like to call them as community-based organizations. When you are community-based organizations, obviously, it is not rocket science that community's interest will come first. Obviously. Any community-based organization, community's interest will come first. Now, the government is not in a position to do much. Now, people like you, people like Dr. Homen Thangzam or Thankolal Haukip, or there are a lot of other people, senior academics representing Manipur. And there is one state where has produced so many top-ranking academics in the country. Why can't all of you take an initiative to sit together and start the track 2 process automatically with no one telling you to do so?
No, I think it's nice to look at that site as one potential scope for building peace, but unfortunately, our world of academia are also involved in a lot of disinformation campaign associated with this phenomenon, this crisis that we have. But before I go into the potential for academics per se, if I may, our honorable MP, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗙 Haukip, had said about the government being communal and so on. That's an accusation that has been coming in. And there is no doubt that the government is found wanting in terms of its capacity to rein in the violence and bring about normalcy. There is no second opinion about that, as we can see by now. But I think when we accuse this government of being communal, that is what I said. There are 2 cookie ministers who are still clearing the fight. They are part of the government. You understand what I'm saying? It is a BJP government, and the cookies are still a cabinet minister in this government under Shri Biren Singh. So when we say that this government is communal, then we have to have a clarity on why is that the cookie minister are still part of this government. And why is that if this is a BJP government, why is that some of these MLAs take a position and accuse this government, BJP government, of being communal and resign? That would have sent a clear message to whoever is playing this game on the lives of the ordinary citizens, whether be that, ST community or non-ST community. As these are some of the concerns we have, and about the injustices, I've said that this is the foundation of bringing peace. Whichever community and their grievances, specific or real, must be addressed. And as I've reminded also that, the Métis too, like other communities, have grievances.
Right.
And historical injustices being meted out to them.
Absolutely.
Normally, we don't talk about these things vis-a-vis with the Métis. But coming back to academics, they are part of the civil society. The unfortunate part of the crisis, as you know, was when the conflict is only at the level of the political, it is easier to solve. Unfortunately, it has been allowed to go deeper into the societal level, and there is a deep sense of hatred and misinformation, disinformation. So it's become very difficult. But my suggestion would be that the government must come in first. I have been suggesting this from the day one. If the Prime Minister calls all their MLAs and make them sit down and talk over and solve the differences. I think Prime Minister Modi is a very powerful man. We know his word will not be pressed aside by anybody in his party. That's my belief.
Right.
And we have started among some academics. We do talk, we do exchange opinions, but the schism has so much deepened these days. It's going to take efforts from all departments, all sides, from the political parties.
I hope, Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗏, I hope that initiative from the academia comes, because at the end of the day, it's only the academics which have the power and they have the understanding to filter out, schism, to remove the schism and talk sense. I will come to you, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏. Let's go to our reporter, Lucky Boy, who is standing by in Imphal. But before that, we have reactions from Dr. 𝗚𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, the father of 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗦𝗏, the additional SP operations of Imphal West or Imphal East, I'm not quite sure. Imphal East, in whose residence that massive firing took place. Let's hear what the additional SP 𝗚𝗡𝗦𝗏's father, Dr. 𝗚𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, had to tell us a short while ago. Let's play that bite.
Actually, today around 7 p.m. in the evening, all of us are inside the room except my son, who is a police officer. Then suddenly some armed people, we don't know who are they, some unknown persons. They came and they knocked our gates like anything. So they bang our main gate like anything. So we suspected something is going to happen. So we kept quiet inside the room. Then suddenly they broke the main gate, and then they all entered inside, and they're asking me to open our door. Then I said, what has happened? Okay, definitely I will open the door, but what has happened? Suddenly they started firing, and they started destroying all our vehicles. No? There are 4 vehicles parked in the courtyard. So all are destroyed. And then as they started firing, we all went inside the room, and we were seeking some shelter inside. Then they started firing like anything outside. They have broken everything, whatever is possible here. That is what is happening.
Is there any threat before?
No, nothing like that, nothing of the sort. Except that my son is a police officer, there is no sort of demand or no threat, nothing like that.
How many members are there in the house
during that period? Actually, myself is there, my wife is there, my elder son is there, and my daughter-in-law is there, and my daughter is there. And the one grandson, my grandson is there.
So we have heard that there is only one police officer in the family.
Yes. All are doctors.
All right, that was a horrific incident that has been witnessed by Dr. 𝗚𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, the father of Mr. 𝗚𝗡𝗦𝗏, the additional SP operations of Imphal West. Dr. 𝗚𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, we just heard his bite. There was massive firing. Lucky Boy, our reporter, is standing by in Imphal. Lucky, the firing, has it stopped now? What is the situation there?
Yes, Waspir, the firing incident stopped, and the security forces, a huge number of security forces, including state and central armed security forces, have also arrived and cordoned the area, conducted search operations, and conducted investigation at the house of additional SP 𝗚𝗡𝗦𝗏 regarding the ambush or the attack at his residence.
Right. Lucky, the additional SP 𝗚𝗦𝗏 was not there at the residence at that time, right?
Yes, his father disclosed that his son, 𝗚𝗡𝗦𝗏, was 𝗚𝗡𝗦𝗏 went for a meeting 1 hour back, but still we can't confirm whether he was present or not. But his father disclosed that he went for a meeting
Right.
1 hour
Now,
back before the incident occurred.
Finally, Lucky, final question. Was anybody injured? Was anybody injured in that firing?
Yes, two civilians sustained injury. One is on his bullet injury on the right leg, and one is on the right wrist of these civilians. And they have been admitted to the 𝗟𝗓𝗓 hospital, and treatment is going on, but they are safe right now.
Right. Thank you very much for that update. Northeast Live is the only channel bringing you this update, that exclusive interview with a visibly disturbed Dr. 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗓𝗔𝗦𝗧𝗔, the father of Amit Moirangtham, the additional SP operations of Imphal West. And as his father said, apart from the fact that his son is a police officer, there was no other demand or threat to the family. Let us go back to the debate. Mr. Paulunlal Haukip, you were making a very important point, and everybody is saying that, particularly Dr. Bimola Koizam is saying that Prime Minister can easily take an initiative to call all the BJP leaders, at least to start with, not to talk about all parties. Now, my question is, who is now going to take the initiative? Recently, you were part of a very important meeting that took place in Guwahati a few days ago, where the Naga and Kuki Zo MLAs from Manipur met. What did you all discuss? I know you may not be able to tell everything, but what was this meeting all about? Was it towards finding out ways and means to resolve the problem?
Well, Wasbir, before I come to that, it is very unfortunate to see the violence that you have that your reporter has just reported. This is the result of a chief minister letting an evil genie out of the bottle, and the central government seemingly tasking him to catch it back on his own. Now, if the chief minister has failed for 10 months, I think the only person or the only authority that can take a meaningful, workable, effective initiative would be the central government leadership, the Home Minister or the Prime Minister. And I agree with Professor Koizam that it is for the center to take the initiative, not some meeting between Kuki and Naga MLAs or Kuki and Meitei MLAs alone. There has to be, like I said earlier in your show,
right.
If a bully beats up a boy in a class, the class teacher or the headmaster has to intervene. Not leave the students to sort it out themselves.
Yes, but as a BJP leader, you are not the only BJP leader representing the hill people in Manipur,
not at all.
The hill districts. Now, there are others. Now, a lot of people might ask you this question, whether as a BJP leader, you have failed to convince your high command to hold such a meeting.
I must admit on national television that I have failed, because we have been knocking on the doors of the Home Minister, we have been knocking on the doors of the Prime Minister, and we have not been given a chance to apprise them of the situation and the possible way forward that we have on our minds. So, yes, we have failed.
What would be your appeal? I'm coming to everybody else for their final comments. What would be your appeal as an elected representative? What will be your appeal? Do you think there is still a definite chance of resolution of this problem through talks? I am quite aware of the demand for a separate administration or even a union territory by the Kuki groups. I'm aware of that. But apart from that will come later. But first, peace has to prevail. You have been living, quite cordially for generations. Now, do you think the situation has reached an irreparable point, the divide?
Yes, honestly, if you ask me, the situation has reached a point of no return, because for reconciliation, the intervention should have come 7 months, 8 months earlier. Now we are in the 10th month, and sensitivities or emotions have gone so deep. People have been hurt so much, and the hatred has grown so much. Now, Wasbir, in between that, I would like to point something out. The central government seems to still treat the problems in Manipur as a security problem. It is not. It is a political problem and needs to be resolved politically. And that is precisely what I was trying to tell you. There's been a history of denial of rights to the tribals as a whole, and also the immediate injustice of maligning the Kuki community by the chief minister, no less than the chief minister himself. Now, if you look at the war on drugs, Mr. Biren Singh's war on drugs began only after Brinda has established the nexus between the drug cartels and the chief minister's family. Now, that sort of diversionary tactics is not going to help the state.
These are serious allegations that will require a different debate, Mr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗘. I don't have much time. Otherwise, I would have allowed you to speak.
No, we have to unravel the truth to find a way to peace, and we have to establish justice.
I have made a beginning.
Without justice, there is no peace.
Yes, I have made a beginning today with this discussion, everybody, all the panelists, and I think we should continue this kind of a discussion. A lot of people may be skeptical about television debates, but you never know. Television debate, after all of you are extremely influential and eminent voices. This might impact the society. Let me quickly go. I don't have much time. Let me quickly go to Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗡. Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗡, the people, the human race, all humans, all people live on hope. Have you lost hope, or do you think things can still come back on track?
No, I still have hope. Many people do hold on to hope. The Naga-Kuki conflict went on for around 5 years, 1992 to 1997. And everybody thought these two communities would never come together. But it's politics is also about possibility. We cannot only talk about the impossible. As I said, the language of violence needs to be given up. There has to be another form of communication, keeping away the hatred inside. And politicians are different from us. We can look at the world as a humanity, neither, making another community smaller or bigger, because we have been like that. Scholars, academicians are like that.
Right.
As responsible teachers,
right.
We only dream of a world, and we believe in the possibility, and we still hold on to hopes.
Absolutely. All of us.
Communities have demonstrated that.
All of us hold on to hope. Final comments from you, Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗡𝗏, very, very briefly. Final comments.
The violence in Manipur will stop as soon as the radicalized groups like the 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗦𝗦𝗔𝗡𝗧, who are often backed by the insurgent groups, stop attacking Kuki villages. That's the only situation, and the state should stop being into this violence through certain implicit actions. And I would also argue that throughout I have argued that the disparity has to be addressed. In the last 14 days in 𝗔𝗠𝗡𝗔𝗦𝗦𝗔𝗡𝗧, the relief camps, the district administration has not given out the full relief materials. See, these are small materials. Now, people who manage these relief camps are running pillar to post for the nations and other contributions to run these relief camps. So just because some people, committed violence against the district administration and arson in the DC office.
Right.
Why could you just deny internet?
Right, I got your point. Yeah, absolutely.
So these are the small disparities, but
disparities, whether of all kinds of disparities towards the affected people. My point is, I would take it a little further. All kinds of disparities towards the affected people, whether they are Kukis or whether they are Metis, must stop, and the government will be responsible for that. Final comments from you, Dr. 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏.
You know, one thing is very clear to me, that it's very unfortunate for the Indian state to create a small space in Manipur as if it is like a banana republic and, you know, everybody is armed. I think the Indian state must reclaim its legitimate monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force, and they must rein in this violence and do the necessary. And when we talk about it, I would not like to communalize these situations. When I say armed groups, it is cutting across communities. It must be reined in, and the political class should take over the state of affairs. I mean, they should not be allowed to privatize the violence. The state political class must come together, or whatever grievances that they have. I think even the Second World War, you know, ended on the table. No war ended on the battlefield per se.
Absolutely.
And this is Indian citizens. Remember that as long as we are part of the same country, this is nonsensical to speak that we can't live together. We will be working together in various organizations, be that army, parliament, or you know, university system. So I think there is this particular outlook must be there. For that, the beginning part should be the state should claim is the monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force and rein in this violence. And I think the political class must begin their talk, whatever grievances they have among leadership, they should resolve.
Absolutely.
Do not, my appeal is, do not make the poor citizens and ordinary citizens, you know, scapegoat for the political drama. This is tragedy.
Yes.
And you must remember that in the loss of life as something that is never seen in this country.
I cannot agree with you more, Professor 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗛𝗏. I've completely run out of time. I'd like to thank each one of you for taking time out to be in this discussion. And I would take this opportunity to request each one of the panelists, esteemed panelists who have been in this debate, that we will continue with this discussion. And I hope in the days ahead, people like Professor 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 or Professor 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏 and others, and Dr. 𝗓𝗡𝗙𝗙𝗏, and we have a the lone political leader, 𝗡𝗢𝗥𝗧𝗏, will take the initiative to sit together, irrespective of whether anybody calls or not. I think someone just have to take a said, okay, come to so-and-so neutral place, let's have a chat. I think that is the way, and it can work wonders. On that positive hope, I end this discussion tonight. I thank all my panelists for being on the show and the viewers for watching the program. Good night and goodbye.